Jesus. Hey. What's up, everybody? It is 5 a.m. Thursday, April 20th. We are currently online attempting to purchase a Disney World annual pass. If you're not familiar with the history of the Disney annual passes, essentially they were readily available with mostly out no interruptions from, I don't know when, but up until March of 2020, when the entire world was shut down for reasons. And after that point, Disney World did not put annual passes back on sale for basically the majority of the last 3 years. I think at one point in time last year they were briefly back on sale, but that quickly ended. Up until about 2 weeks ago, Disney announced that today they were going to put Disney World annual passes back on sale no earlier than 6 a.m. That's 6 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 5 a.m. here in Nashville. So we are currently online waiting for the launch of that. Disney, of course, said no earlier than 6 a.m. because their technology is infamously unreliable in terms of crashing, in terms of getting overloaded with people trying to access stuff. We've seen that in the past with registering for the marathons. Saw it last week, because last week they also put Disneyland annual passes back on sale for the first time in quite some time, and that crashed out and died pretty quickly. But we're online now. Right now it currently says passes will go on sale later this morning. Please continue to check the passes page. So not necessarily a website crash, but they haven't launched sales yet. They're also not launching a virtual queue to get in line for buying an annual pass, which is the virtual queue type thing is what they do with the marathon, where once you go to the website it tells you like, oh, you have approximately 2 hours to wait until you can register or something like that. But just clicking refresh here as we go in the morning until we can try to purchase this thing. And as we go, I'll share a little bit more information about why I'm trying to purchase an annual pass, what's been going on with annual passes, why they have been off and on sale for the last 3 years. And we'll just chat about some upcoming plans I have to visit the Walt Disney World Resort and the Orlando area, which if you're a follower of the channel, you know that's something I do semi-frequently. 5:37, still not on sale yet. The interesting thing though is the URL that pops up being on the page waiting for them to go on sale is listed as queue.disneyparks.disney.go.com. So that makes it almost seem like they're using the virtual queue system for lining people up to buy them, but it's not coming across that way, the way it does like with annual pass, where like I said, annual pass, or not annual pass, the marathon, where it gave you are in line, do not refresh this page, your approximate wait time is more than 1 hour. This says, while Disney World annual passes will go on sale later this morning, please continue to check the passes page. So it's more, you're not really in a queue, you're saying keep refreshing the page till they go on sale is what I'm reading that as anyway. Our watch continues. Okay, so as of 5:44 a.m. we've got our first update, change of the morning. Please sit tight. The queue to purchase annual passes will open soon. You will automatically be added to the queue when it opens. Do not refresh the page or select the back button. Alright, so we're one step closer to fighting our way through the glory that is Disney IT. Fingers crossed if this whole thing doesn't crash. Alright, just a few minutes later we've got another update Thank you for your patience. You're in the queue to purchase annual passes. When your turn comes, you'll have 10 minutes to enter the site. Annual pass availability is limited, and being in the queue does not guarantee the ability to purchase any annual pass. Please do not refresh the page or select the back button. Approximate wait time, more than an hour. So that's the general idea we got when we did the marathon registration the other day. That ended up being about a 40-minute wait. I don't know if this is going to be more or less. Very interesting to see, because obviously this is the first time in over a year they've put annual passes on sale, as I mentioned. We shall see. All right, so as of 6:36 a.m., we actually have a quoted time. Approximate wait time now is listed at 57 minutes. Kind of had a feeling this was going to push right up to the edge, because I got to take the Jeep in for some service today at 8 a.m. So I knew this was going to push right up against that time limit there. But if this goes like the marathon, that 57 minutes will kind of drop quickly. Actually, it just already dropped to 54 minutes. So this kind of goes pretty quickly once you get into the countdown time, if it's anything like what the marathon registration was. But to give a little background on the history of what's happened over the last couple of years with Disney World annual passes. So March 2020, COVID hits, parks shut down for a few months. You know, they're not selling tickets, they're not selling passes, because obviously they can't open the parks. They don't want to sell tickets, they don't want to sell passes or anything like that, because they don't know when or if they're going to they don't know when they're going to reopen. July 2020, the parks reopened, but when they reopened, they do not put annual passes back on sale, because when they reopen with the park pass reservation system, which is basically, before, you know, if you had a ticket, an annual pass at Disney World, you could go to, you know, depending on the status of the ticket, you could basically, you know, if you had an all-park ticket, a park hopper ticket, annual pass park hopper, you could go to any park you wanted, jump from park to park all day long. Well, when they came out from COVID, because they had to limit the capacity of how many people could be in the parks, as, you know, everybody in the world was limiting capacity on stuff at that point in time. You had to reserve in advance which of the Disney parks you were going to go to. So if you wanted to go to Magic Kingdom, you had to book that you were going to go to Magic Kingdom. If you wanted to go to Epcot, you had to book that you were going to Epcot. Because of this restricted system and the fact that they had such low capacity, they did not put annual passes back on sale, because, you know, the idea of an annual pass is you can go to Disney World essentially anytime you want, depending on what level of annual pass you get. And since they couldn't guarantee you'd be able to do that, they couldn't put the annual passes back on sale. And essentially they haven't done so in the time since then, except for, like, I think one exception to last year. They briefly had them back on sale because they've got the park pass reservation system in place going beyond when the COVID restrictions were lifted, because it helps Disney kind of know where they need to allocate their resources. If they know they've got a heavy Magic Kingdom day, because a lot of people have made park pass reservations for Magic Kingdom, they, you know, put a little extra staffing, a little extra, you know, food there. And because of that, you know, they didn't want to sell annual passes, because they can't guarantee annual pass holders can get into the parks, which kind of violates the agreement that annual pass is that you can get in the park. But, you know, they're starting to slowly roll back that, open things up more to the people that have existing annual pass holders. So today, for the first time ever, that's why they're first time in a year or so, they've opened up the annual passes. Also, another theory I've read as to why they've reopened annual pass sales now is that they've probably hit a window where enough annual pass holders that had the previous annual passes have let them expire and not renewed them, that they want to kind of refill the kitty of how many annual pass holders they have total. One of the reasons they limit annual pass sales, another reason, is that Disney values the day guest over annual pass holders, because in theory, somebody that's down there on a vacation, that's traveling, that's not a regular visitor, is going to spend more money per head than somebody that's there all the time. Like, if you're a Florida resident who goes, you know, 3 times a week, you're not going to buy merchandise, you're not necessarily going to eat on property every single time you go. Whereas, like, if you're somebody who's down there for your one big Disney World vacation, you're going to buy a ton of merch, you're going to eat at all the Disney restaurants, spend a lot more money. So they kind of taken to a point where they value the traveling guests more than the regular guest, and you can, you know, kind of make your own judgment on if that's right or wrong there. In Disneyland, their annual passes have popped up as being on sale a little more frequently than Disney World, but that's also more of a regional park. It's, you know, it's Disneyland, it's the biggest park in the world, but they've always had a higher percentage of annual pass holders that visit there than Disney World, because Disney World is more the tourist park. Disneyland was the highest level, biggest, essentially regional theme park in the world. But they've also tried to push Disneyland more and more to be more like Disney World and be a huge tourist destination, and also out there have started to somewhat alienate pass holders. But 47 minutes now. So this is not promising. I had dropped down to as low as an approximate wait time of 21 minutes. Then it jumped back up to 28, 30, dropped back down to 27, and now it has jumped back up to more than an hour again. It's not going well. Okay, update as of 7:44 a.m. The approximate wait time shifted maybe like 20 minutes ago to recalculating. And it has been on that ever since. So, as anticipated, this is going to push into the time where I need to leave to go take the Jeep to the shop to get some service done. So, knowing my luck, my spot in the queue will come up sometime while I'm out of the house taking the Jeep in, and I'll miss my chance to buy the annual pass. So this kind of went exactly how I expected it to go. Really glad I woke up at 4:30 in the morning for this. Right. According to blogmickey.com, there were reports that people were getting in from the queue to buy their annual passes, but there was issues where they weren't able to check out. Disney infamously has the worst IT in the world. Their tech just never works correctly. So the speculation is that Disney has shut down sales, and that's why it's saying recalculating, because they're trying to sort out whatever the issue that's happening with checking out is before they have more people come in and keep piling up with issues. So no surprise here. Every time Disney has something that requires the technology to work, it fails. It's unbelievable how one of, if not the biggest media companies in the world can have the worst possible technology of anyone. It's shocking. Okay, so as predicted, Disney's technology was less than effective, so I've got to take the Jeep into the shop. It is just around the corner from our house though, so hopefully I can get back and not miss anything. I do have myself pulled up in the virtual queue on my phone as well, so we shall see what happens. Do you want to shout out? I did get my, don't beep at me. I did get the new touchscreen stereo system with the...
That was blocked. I don't
oh gosh, it just took over the
but
Bluetooth. I'm listening to Club Country.
The fact that Nashville isn't creating a ton
Pause. The new touchscreen stereo interface got installed that Jesta bought me for my birthday show. Shout out Jesta, thank you for that. One positive vibes for the morning. This thing's working, but it looks like it just lost connection to the Bluetooth. I don't know what's happening. Alright, it appears we're back up and running, and luckily didn't miss our window, so maybe things are taking a turn in a positive direction. Fingers crossed. Alright, into the home stretch now. 4-minute wait time left. See where we go. See what we get to. Alright, here we go. It is your turn. Thank you for waiting. You're now being redirected to the site. So it seems almost there. Redirected to the website as soon as possible. Okay. Alright, here we go. So the annual passes, I believe there's 4 or 5 tiers. Realistically, there's only one we can buy though, because there's only one that is eligible for non-Florida residents or non-Disney Vacation Club members, which I do not get into either of those. That's the Incredipass, which is the highest level one, no blackout days. all the good stuff that comes with that. Let's see, what do we want to add on? Any add-ons? Okay, it's just me, the one me. PhotoPass used to be included, but now it's a $100 add-on. I don't know if it kind of gets worth it to just get all the pictures you take when you're at Disney World for just $100 extra. I mean, it is what it is. Especially like the marathon weekend, like I bought the PhotoPass add-on to my marathon weekend because I wanted all the pictures from the race. I wanted to get all the pictures of me holding up the medals around the parks. So yeah, okay. All right, so we've got everything selected. We're adding to cart. This is probably a good opportunity to talk about like why I'm getting an annual pass. So when you go 2 to 3 times now, because they've increased the day ticket pass so much that if you go 2 to 3 times, you're essentially spending as much as you would on an annual pass. Like the annual pass is going to come out to about $1,500. My one-day Disney trip that I did on the marathon day, I went to one-day Disney. It was over $200 for that one Disney day. So think about that. It's like $230, $250 for one day at Disney. How many times do you have to go to make $1,500 even out, you know? And I'll talk about how many times I'm going to go to make it work out as we get there. All right, so we did it. After the kind of rigmarole getting through the system and everything, we officially have purchased a Disney World annual pass. If I were in Florida right now, I could go to the parks and start going right away, because they actually have recently updated that pass holders don't need a park reservation to enter the parks after 2 o'clock, with the exception of Magic Kingdom on the weekends. So 2 o'clock this afternoon, if I was in Florida right now, I could head on into the Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, what have you. Whatever. Let's talk about trip plans for the rest of the year, because obviously gotta go, gotta be down there to make this actually worth it. Like I said, one day was almost $250 to go to the parks for one day, so gotta go like 5 days to get your money's worth, which if you follow the channel, you know I can probably do that pretty easily. So already on the books, we're going January of 2024 for marathon weekend, so that's going to be 2 to 3 to 4 days in the parks right there. Tentatively I'm planning to go in June with a couple buddies, so that'll be at least 3-4 days there. Could possibly do a nephew Pete trip later in the summer. It's always fun to take him down there, and he's a little bit older now. Maybe we can get him back on Tower of Terror. Go back and watch that video if you haven't done so already. And then I always go in the fall. I go sometime in late September, early October every year, because I got to go down to Universal for Halloween Horror Nights. I also have a Universal annual pass, which that one's nowhere near as expensive. It's really easy to get your money's worth on that one. But definitely will be going in October because we got to go down there for Halloween Horror Nights. Definitely would hit Disney while we're down there. So right there we've got, you know, one tentative trip, one locked-in trip, 2 more semi-tentative, semi-locked-in trips. So we've got 4 trips already locked in, basically. So that, you know, kind of covers it right there. We've already kind of probably got our money's worth on it right there. But one thing I'm going to start to do as well is I'm going to go down there. I've talked about on the channel, but I officiate soccer. I'm a referee for soccer. They do tournaments down there at the Wide World of Sports. I've been down there before. Actually, the last time I went down there for a tournament was when I kind of first decided I probably should get a Disney World annual pass, because I went down there, refereed the tournament, and essentially most days that I was there for the tournament, I was refereeing till like 3, sometimes 5, 6 o'clock. So I wanted to go to the parks, but at the same time I didn't have an annual pass, and I was like, there's no like afternoon ticket or like late day ticket. It was, you still had to buy like a full day ticket, even though you'd only be going into the parks for, you know, 2 to 3 hours depending on when they were closing. So when I was down there, I was like, probably makes sense if I'm going to be doing this more regularly to get an annual pass. So I had it in my mind, I'm going to get an annual pass, and this is what happened. So 2018, started going back with some friends and stuff. First time I'd been since like 2005. Had a lot of fun, knew it was something I wanted to do more regularly. Went and did the tournament, realized I should probably get an annual pass, and decided I was going to get one. But the way things worked was you could actually use what you paid for like a standalone trip as almost like a down payment on annual pass. So if you booked like a 7-day stay with like 5 park ticket days, you could then use the money you spent on those 5 park days to be a part of your payment to upgrade to an annual pass. So when I started going back, my mom kind of was like, she's a big Disney fan too. She was like, I want to go too, I want to go too. And she decided she wanted the whole family to go back to Disney World for a big family vacation on her special birthday year. She had a big birthday in 2020. I don't want to, disclose ages, so I won't say what that birthday was, but she had a big birthday that she really wanted to celebrate by the whole family going back to Disney World. So we booked a trip for October 2020 for the whole family to go down to Disney World. So my plan was, I was going to do a summer trip with some friends, use the money I spent on the summer trip to transfer over to an annual pass, essentially a down payment on an annual pass, because that was kind of the one workaround as a non-Florida resident. You had to not pay the whole annual pass in one lump sum. Florida residents can do like monthly payments and stuff like that, so can't do that if you're not a Florida resident. So this was like kind of a workaround to kind of, whatever it was, the $400, $500 I spent on 2 to 3 park days, use that as a down payment on the annual pass, get the annual pass. So I'd have the annual pass when the whole family went in October. Then, as we've already talked about, February, March, April 2020, everything that happened. Park shut down. They never put annual passes on sale again until like a brief time last year, and then again today. So plan's been in the works for quite some time. Finally came to fruition today, secured the Disney World annual pass so that, as expensive as it was, with the amount of times I go down there and visit the parks, it should work itself out to where I'm actually borderline even going to have a couple free days in the park, theoretically. So all that's coming up in the future. Tons of fun content down there in the parks. Like I said, probably got a trip coming up in June, maybe a July trip with Nephew P, a fall trip for Halloween Horror Nights and all the other Halloween festivities down there, and then Walt Disney World Marathon in January. And who knows, might throw in some other trips here and there if we have the opportunities. Like I said, I'd like to get back to going down there to referee. The only tournament they currently have listed, though, as I last checked, was a Memorial Day weekend tournament, and I don't think I'd be able to put things together to go down there for Memorial Day. I think I've got some other stuff going on Memorial Day weekend, so won't be able to do that one, but I'm going to keep my eye out for more tournaments because I had a blast reffing down there. It's a great facility, tons of fun, and now that I have the annual pass, I can ref all day, go to the parks for a couple hours at night, pop over to Springs after the parks close, just have a great time. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on the channel in regards to that if you like the Disney content. If you don't like the Disney content, sorry, because we kind of have to do more Disney content now based on this. So stay tuned for all that and everything else we have coming up on the channel. If you're here for the Nashville SC stuff, we got tons coming up. I think we've got like 4 straight home games over the course of the next like 3 weeks. So whatever you're into from the channel, we're going to have it coming up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you at Taco Bell.